What's up, everyone? Brian here. Celebrity picks this week. Yes, it's me, your 2014 champ, your 2015 bronze medalist, last year's runner-up, and probably soon to be 2017 champ. So I was just gonna jump right into this with the picks for the week, but we have to go over all the trades. So shout out to our first ever three-team trade. That's pretty cool. Kyle got Crowder, Hopkins, Blunt, Watkins, Cohen. Jackson got Cup and Bell, and Nolan got Howard and Thompson. So Kyle gets a lot of pieces. Seems that's what he's looking for. Seems to me that he just got a bunch of Sunday morning headaches, which is going to be hilarious for us. So thanks for that. Jackson's team, if you haven't seen it, stacked. His starting lineup is loaded. Going to be very tough. But as we know, Jackson's teams always get serious injuries, and his team will probably crumble because now he has no bench. So that will work for us. Nolan gets Howard and Thompson, kind of swap some pieces there to trade out for different players with a little bit better upside, I think. Thompson, kind of a wild card. So seems everyone did pretty good. Jackson gets pieces, Nolan gets a slight upgrade, and Jackson gets a big upgrade. But we'll find out how these work. So a couple other trades. Edamos and myself made a trade. That trade was terrible. I'm doing this Sunday morning, so we all know Ty Montgomery, broken ribs. So basically, you dropped Cam. So I got Matt Ryan and Doug Martin for nothing. So thanks for that. Looks good now. God knows for my team. But right now, that was a terrible trade, so thank you. Terrible trade. The other trade, so three trades in 1 week, one on Tuesday, one on Wednesday, was Edamos and Murphy here. So they traded a ton of people. Big trade. So Mixon, Powell, and Benjamin and Funches, so the Carolina wide receivers, go to Murphy for Rodgers, Alshon, and Coleman. And then Higgins was dropped. So a pretty big trade, a lot of pieces there. I guess I'd rather have Rodgers. I mean, I'm a big Rodgers fan, so. But getting Mixon, who we think is going to be a good back, and Powell was a garbage time monster. The Carolina receivers make me nervous just because Cam's playing bad, seeing as how he got dropped. But Alshon and Rodgers is a good pickup. So it looks like they both did pretty decent there. But again, Adamos coming off one terrible trade to make probably another terrible trade. So his team's reeling. All right, so let's get right into the picks here, boys. Again, no blazing Asian picks this week. No pork fried rice. So a good old-fashioned Polish kielbasa for all you boys. All right, so we'll go to the first quick matchup here. We got Murphy versus Globo Gym, my team. I could get into it, but his team is god-awful. He's starting Sean Watson. It's going to be an absolute bloodbath. I got Matt Ryan, home, easy. J.J. against the Saints, couldn't be more easy. I got Beckham at Tampa, guys to go. Jarvis Landry, Saints, they can't cover anything. Should be very easy. And he's got a couple tough matches. Marshawn at Denver, that ain't going to be fun. Pierre Garcon at Arizona, that's no fun. So some tough matchups on his side. I'll spare the details here. Globo Gem by 1,000,000. So we'll move right along. Next matchup, we have Tidmarsh and Mike Ryan. Oh, excuse me. Let me back up. Went too far here. Greg, 0-3, going to be 0-4. Let's all, if you could see this, let's take a knee. Let's take a knee. Take a knee for your 0-4 team. You're bad, man. Stand up for fantasy. Jesus, dude. You're bad. All right. Sorry, I digress. Tidmarsh, 2-1. Mike Ryan, 2-1. Two teams with winning record matching up. I don't think that might be the only one of those. No, Kyle and Edamos also matching up. So we'll get right into this one. Tidmarsh rolling out there. Team Tidmarsh. Jesus. Kareem Hunt killing it. Home against, doesn't matter. He's probably going to put up 30 points. Antonio Brown at Baltimore. Those games are tricky, so I mean, he could just have like a regular day. Those games always seem to be like 13, 17, comes down to a field goal or a touchdown or something. Who else? Devontae, home against the Saints. So the Saints not in the Superdome there. Usually a good matchup for the other team's offense. And Carson Palmer, home against San Fran. Pretty mediocre matchups, I would say. Nothing too tough. Jonathan Stewart at New England could be tough to run, but they got exposed by the Chiefs, so we'll see. Let's see if Mike Ryan's team impresses here. Russell Wilson, McCoy, Miller, Hilton, Thomas, Kelsey, Hogan. Pretty solid Jags D at the Jets. Jags D has been up and down. They got like 30 billion fantasy points one week, and then they gave up 30 million points the next. So we'll see how that goes. And the Chiefs, and Tid's got the Chiefs D. Not that defenses can really decide too much here. So yeah, pretty solid. Hilton in Seattle, that's going to be tough. McCoy at Atlanta, their defense plays well at home. Kelsey's been kind of up and down. What did he have last week? Yeah, 0.6, so I doubt he'll do that again. That bodes well for Mike Ryan. Russell Wilson, again, kind of an up and down year, but home and against Indy's terrible defense, so that should be bad news. I think that Mike Ryan just has a little bit better matchups here, so I'm going to give him the edge. Tid, if Hunt goes off again, and I think Parker could have a big day, you could keep it close, but I just think Mike Ryan, a little higher probability here to have a bigger day. Let's move right along. Okay, Jackson 2-1, Cass 1-2. Again, I'm doing this Sunday morning here, but it looks like I think he has Jordy. Yeah, Jordy with the big day, 21.5 already. So that's not helpful. Let's see. Essiano, R, Elliott, Freeman, Sanders, Hearns, Ertz, White. So Hearns and Sanders doesn't scare me too much. But at the Jets, so Hearns could be in for a good day. Freeman home is devastating, and Elliott home, pretty good. But he is facing the Rams, who, I'm not sure how you guys feel, but the Rams have kind of surprised me a little this year, so their defense could hold up. It's doubtful, though. And then Carr at Denver, tough matchup there. Then you got the Pats D at home against Carolina. I think Carolina's bad, so that's probably a safe bet. Jackson, on the other hand, Dak, Gurley, Bell, Nelson, Hill, Fournette. Listen, Gurley, Bell, Jordy Nelson, Tyreek Hill, Leonard Fournette. That's pretty good. His bench is brutal, but it doesn't really matter. He's got Lockett, Kobe Fleener, Jermaine Kearse. Cooper Kupp, I guess, is decent. Pro size is going to be hurt his whole career, but yeah, barring injury, that's a pretty devastating lineup. No buys. Like a playoff team, that's going to be tough. Matchup-wise, again, Bell, that Baltimore-Pittsburgh's matchup's always tricky, so it makes me a little nervous, but still, it's Bell. Hill's been a monster, and he's at home. Fournette at the Jets, he's been a beast, gets a ton of carries. And then Gurley at Dallas. If the Rams fall behind, obviously they won't be running, but he is a decent receiver, so his guys are good enough where they outwork any matchups, so I got to go Jackson here. Cass team's got pretty decent matchups, so it doesn't matter. I think you're just outclassed here. Moving on. Oh. All right. So we got Nicky O and Nolan. Nolan 0-3. Come on, man. You're a champion. You're acting like freaking Kyle here. Let's go. Win. Let's jump right into it. Nick 2-1. All right. So Nolan does have some decent matchups. I was looking at this a little bit. So Big Ben, again, that Baltimore game makes me nervous. But Isaiah Crowell home against Cincy. Jordan Howard at Green Bay put up 13. Randall Cobb put up 12.5 there. So pretty decent start there. I guess you could have won a little more. Keenan Allen's been had a lot of targets already. So that's boding well for him. Jared Cook, hot and cold, and then he picks up that Chris Thompson. Monday night at the Chiefs, that's going to be tough. I think that's not going to work out. They're going to, Andy Reid makes Chris Thompson's for breakfast, so I think he'll know how to stop him. Nicky O, on the other hand, Breeze, DeMarco, Gore, Cooper, Thielen, Gronk, and Mark Ingram. Frank Gore at Seattle, that's tough. Amari Cooper in the no-fly zone, that's even tougher. And then Drew Brees at Miami. Again, out of New Orleans, he's still Drew Brees, but he's not the same. So a few tough matchups there. I think Gronk will go off, but they do have those good linebackers, so that might be a little bit of a tough matchup, actually. And then he's starting the Dolphins defense home against New Orleans. They're not in New Orleans, but they're still Drew Brees and the Saints, so that's a risky flick. So not the greatest matchup here, skill-wise, but I just think Nicky O's got tougher matchups, so I'm going to lean towards Nolan getting his first win. our defending champ here. Got to get on the board with the W. So like the Giants 0-3, we need a big day from your guys to stay in the race. Again, you just need 7 wins in fantasy, but you got to get 1 to get 7. All right, moving on. We got Tony at 1-2 and Pete at 2-1. So some people have played already. Devontae got 8 and almost died for Petoni's team, and Martellus Bennett got 7, which is pretty good for Pete. So I would take 7 out of Bennett. He's kind of a volatile player. But let's get into the details here. So Pantoni, Brady, Galisi, Carson, Evans, Julio, and then Safari Jenkins. And he's starting the Texans D at home against Tennessee. While Pete's got Winston, Gordon, McCaffrey, Cooks, Fitzgerald, Deshaun, and he's got the Steelers D at home. Steelers, Baltimore. That's a tough play for me. Makes me nervous. What else we got? So we'll go right into Pete's team. Winston against the Giants. Giants do have a decent defense, so I think that's a tough matchup, although they are 0-2, I believe, so this game is going to be a bunch of crybabies out there. Gordon, home against Philly. Philly's defense is pretty decimated, so that could be a good matchup, and they have to travel across the country, so that's never easy. McCaffrey had a kind of a little bit of a breakout game last week, but Belichick's not going to let him do anything. And then Cooks has had much one great game and a bunch of mediocre games. So tough to say if they get ahead or behind. That game will dictate a lot of his stats. And then Fitzgerald, guys, Benjamin Button, it's insane. So I'll give him 30 right now. And then Deshaun Jackson always kills the Giants, so that's probably a solid play there. So decent matchups there. Let's check out Pantoni's team. Brady, home. 25 at least. Galisi, definitely a touchdown at home. Carson at Indy, probably 2 touchdowns. And then Evans at the Giants. Giants got a good secondary. I think that's a tough matchup for him. And Julio home against Buffalo. Julio home is probably going to have 300 yards. So right now, Pantoni's I already see 6 touchdowns on his starters. So I'm going to give him the edge here. Pantoni by probably 20. Sorry, Pete. We'll move on. All right, boys. We're already at the last one of the week, and we saved a good one. So, Edamos versus Kyle. A lot of trash talking this week between Kyle and the Gregs. It was pretty entertaining, though, so thanks for that. So, Greg has got Rodgers, newly picked up, puts up 23, and then Ty breaks his ribs, puts up 3. So, feast and famine right there. Kyle, on the other hand, played Cohen, who only had like 70 yards. So not the outing he needed from him, but still more than Montgomery, so he's still in the matchup. Projection, but let's get into the players. So Kyle here, he's got Wentz, Pennsylvania, and Blunt at the Chargers. At the Chargers. The Chargers do have a good defense, everybody keeps telling me, and going across the country is not easy. Blunt's kind of a touchdown or bust player. Wentz looks good, and I can't think of too many playmakers in the Chargers secondary, so he should have a decent day. AJ at the Browns could be trouble. Dez has been kind of a touchdown or bust player. He just doesn't have the yards and the catches right now. But hopefully he gets some touchdowns. He's a red zone monster, but other than that, he's pretty mediocre. Jordan Reed, permanent questionable next to his name, so we'll see how that goes. And then DeAndre home against Tennessee. How Houston is looking better with Deshaun, but still he's not what he was from Nicky O's championship team a couple years ago. On the other side, Edamos Rodgers putting up the big numbers. Cook at home against Detroit, division game, could be tough. Detroit does have a pretty decent defensive line. And then Diggs has been a monster. Alshon's been pretty good. Both pretty solid matchups. Except Slay in Detroit is decent. Jimmy Graham finally had a big week, and he's facing Indy, so that's a bad matchup. Or a matchup for you, bad matchup for Kyle. Then Rashard Matthews. Rashard Matthews. Let's actually see. Oh, he had a big week last week, but other than that, like 70 and 40 yards. Nothing too impressive here. I don't see any huge games. Maybe AJ is the scariest person on the board. Should be pretty tight. I think the Ty Montgomery 3 will hurt. So I'm going to give the edge slightly to Kyle here in a close one. But probably a solid win to move him to 3-1. So that's it, boys. That's Brian's picks for the week. Thanks for having me. And on to the next one.